Today I will be talking about how school uniforms should not be allowed in a public school setting. School is not a job. Why wear a uniform and treat it like one? For my speech, I'll be talking about how high school uniforms, especially in public schools, should not be allowed or even thought of. For my speech, I am specifically going to focus on how they are expensive, don't allow individuality, and finally, how they do not allow students to express freedom. I believe my audience should be interested in this problem because it can very well affect their high school career. The way I'm going to prevent uniforms from entering a public high school setting is by proving my points with detail and visual aids. School uniforms should not be in public high schools. If we solve this problem, expenses would be less, individuality would be back, and so will freedom of expression. The first point I'm going to talk about is how school uniforms are expensive. School uniforms are not only unnecessary, but they are quite expensive as well. With the expensive cost of textbooks and school supplies, adding an additional charge for uniforms will not only make the student pay more out of pocket. According to Cost Helper Education article, a general uniform of standardized clothing can cost anywhere from $25 to $200 per outfit or $100 to $600 for a school wardrobe. 4 or 5 mix and match outfits, depending on the quality of the number of pieces, the retailer, and the location. Pants might be $5 to $50 each, skirts can be $5 to $35 each, and tops might be $3 to $35 each. And if shoes are included in uniform, they can cost up to $70. Reports actual cost of $234 per uniform for a kindergartner. I think this is absolutely absurd that kindergartners' parents had to pay this much. This is unnecessary cost, and this does not need to be there. According to the pro-con article states, mandatory uniforms were far more prevalent in high poverty schools, in which 76% of students were eligible for reduced costs for free lunch programs than low poverty schools. I find it absurd that in the area that people can afford uniforms, they're still forced to get them. This is unnecessary and can cause stress on families. Not only are uniforms expensive, but they can take away our priceless cost of originality. My second point I'm going to talk about is how school uniforms disallow originality. According to the debate.org article, it states school uniforms take away from students' right to express themselves. As a student, it is hard to express yourself with all the enforced rules, and one of the ways that students do express themselves is through clothing. Taking that away and replacing it with mandatory school uniform will disable them from being able to choose for themselves in the future. This shows that students are not able to be creative or express themselves when forced to wear a uniform. According to the article Individuality vs. Conformity and School Uniform, it states, the more restrictive the uniform, the more negatively they impact individual expression. Creativity is typically result for less restrictive, open atmosphere where students feel they have the freedom to express their ideas, create original work, and think it's critically, according to Missouri University theater professor Suzanne Boyan. This is basically saying that if school uniforms are in place, a student is less likely to be creative, or express themselves. This brings me to my third point, that school uniforms take away the governmental right of expression. Uniforms don't allow students the freedom to express. According to the article Individuality versus Conformity and School Uniforms, it states, the common reason that students don't like uniforms is that they go against their ability to express themselves individually through clothing styles from a political perspective. Uniform detractors point to the right of individual freedom of expression. I believe school uniforms take away our First Amendment right to express ourselves. Doesn't it just irk some of you that you're given rights from the United States, but when you get to school, they are taken away from you? School uniforms are not causing local issues, but they are starting to cause issues within the national government. Since I'm against uniforms in public school settings, I have decided that there needs to be a solution. My first solution to this issue is to have my audience take a survey on why we shouldn't have uniforms. Please fill out the survey on why uniforms should not be in place in a high school setting. Also, please join us at Manalapan High School to protest our right for individuality on January 21st, 2017. Here's a poster that I made Basically, I designed like a logo. This is like a basic t-shirt which would represent a uniform. And basically we're saying no to these uniforms, so say no to basic. And here's another shirt saying, so say hello to endless possibilities. So I put an infinity sign because that means there's so much possibilities. I I highly encourage you all to fill out the survey on reasons why we should not have school uniforms. I can express the reasons why we should not have uniforms in a public setting enough. School uniforms are not only expensive, but they disallow a student to express themselves with their own originality. Since uniforms are expensive, this can be a burden on towns that do not have a lot of money. Uniforms also take away our First Amendment which is freedom of expression, which is bad on a national level. We need to take this action. We need to take this action seriously and change it. School is a time where you learn about yourself and find yourself. Don't let an expensive uniform take that away from you.